Hey everybody, this is Steven from PopCultureMaven.com. We're back with this week's new comic book reviews. Kind of a smaller week, but there's some really good stuff. And kind of for me, a big surprise. The biggest surprise will be our first thing. We have Danger and the Other Unknown Risk, original graphic novel written by Ryan North with artwork by Erica Henderson. Now, this is the same team that did the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, and which is really amazing. And there was a few weeks ago, the Marvel actually put out an omnibus with the entire run that Ryan North and Erica Henderson drew most of it, but she was really the really kind of got the ball rolling. She drew it for most of the run. But basically, so this is an original graphic novel put out by Penguin Random House. And so what it is, it tells the story of Marguerite and her dog, Daisy, who are on this mission for their Uncle Bernard. So what has happened is on January 1st, 2000, there was, the Y2K thing. Well, it actually did happen where all the electricity went out and basically chaos ensued. But what happened was magic was always there, but magic became more prevalent. And then so people learned magic, and then there were like people who did magic that didn't quite know it. So the earth was kind of split into magical kingdoms and stuff. And so what Marguerite and Daisy are on. They're on a quest because they have to get three things because their uncle is able to he needs these three things to do a spell to basically fix, what has happened, kind of bring it back to, back to normal and, to get rid of the bad magic that has happened. So, so along the way, she ends up with, Jason. So what it is one of the things that she has to get is from a store that is transported into the future, and she has to go find a bicycle there, and that's where she runs into Jason, who is a security guard, and it's literally like the day before December 31st. And so she decides, so Marguerite tells her, hey, the world's going to end. So if you go back, you're probably going to die. So Jason, she decides to stay and kind of go on the journey with Marguerite and Daisy to help find the last artifact that they need. Now, I don't want to really go into any more detail about the plot because really I don't want to give anything away. This book is really, really wonderful. Ryan North is a really great writer. He's currently writing Fantastic Four, which is really, really good. He's written a ton of stuff. He wrote some Jughead stories. He's just done tons and tons of stuff. And him and Erica just really, they work so well together, obviously from their time doing the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. And it's really a wonderful book. Now, this is kind of obviously aimed at a younger audience, but I think it's a great all ages book. I would say I wouldn't go super young on it. I think probably around 10 or 11 would be kind of the lower age, maybe, depending on the kid, but not that there's anything super bad in it, but there's kind of some scary stuff and things like that, I think, for really young readers. But other than that, it's really it's a wonderful story. And then Henderson I love her artwork so much, and she really just, she has this kind of cartoony style that just really is super charming and just wonderful and vibrant and lively, and it just really adds so much to the to North's story that they almost I kind of it's like they're like peanut butter and jelly. They just go together perfectly, and it's just a wonderful story with a lot of humor. A lot of heart, and just, ups and downs with emotions. It's really wonderful. I cannot recommend this enough. And there is both a hardcover and a soft cover that has come out at the same time. So I went for the hardcover, obviously, because I prefer hardcovers over soft covers. But in this case, this is a really big win. This is a wonderful book. You can get it from your local comic shop. If they don't have it, it's orderable. I know that they still have them there. But really definitely pick this up. This is really, it's a great mostly all ages book. But it's really wonderful. Next up, we have Junk Rabbit #1, written, drawn, colored, and lettered by Jimmy Robinson. Now, earlier this week, I did a full review of Junk Rabbit, so I'm not really going to rehash it there. I will put the link to that video in the comments below. But briefly, I will say I didn't really enjoy the first issue. I've actually read the first and second issue, so it does really build nicely from that from this first issue. But it's really worth checking out. I really enjoyed this book. Jimmy's a really great talent. He does everything. And but like I said, watch that review for the full review of Junk Rabbit on its own. So make sure you check that out. But it is recommended, so I definitely think you should pick that up this week. Next up, we have Hairball #1, written by Matt Kent with artwork by Tyler Jenkins. So what this is, it's a story about an orphan girl, Anna, who's adopted by this couple. And at the same time she's adopted, this black stray cat shows up. And so there's really something strange going on with the cat. The cat bites her, and then there's like these worms that come out of her, but they don't hurt her. It's just it's like the cat is like it's like possessed, or like some sort of like weird, I don't know, it's like a horror thing. It's like the cat that came to take over the house, and it's really amazingly creepy. And it's really it's kind of unnerving because the cat, obviously, something's going on. Like I said, this cat is like, I don't know if it's pretty much pure evil at a point. And it's a really neat horror comic that's, it's not bloody or anything like that. There's kind of some gross stuff, but there's no blood. It's just really creepy, and that's what I really liked about this story. I mean, Kent really just he really just, it slowly is very unnerving. And then you have Jenkins' artwork, which is absolutely gorgeous. It really is a good looking book. I'm a really big fan of his artwork. But he does some really great stuff with the cat and the kids, the kid and the family and everything. But it's really it's really an unnerving. It's one of those like slow burn, like it's more of a like kind of a thriller in some ways. I mean, it's definitely horror, but it's not a big bloodletting, which I really liked. It's just it's really good. So I really enjoy this. It's definitely a big pick this week. I really like this book a lot. The story's great, the artwork's wonderful. Definitely check this one out. Pick it up at your local comic shop. Next up, we have Batman #134, written by Chip Zdarsky, with pencils by Mike Hawthorne, and inks by Adriano Di Benedetto. And then there's the backup, the Toy Box Part 4, that's also written by Zdarsky, but with artwork by Miguel Mendona. Or Mendocea. Sorry about that. So really this issue, so Batman's kind of stuck in a different, he's been jettisoned into a multiverse, another Earth where that Bruce Wayne is dead, and he has to become, Batman. So this issue is really one of the, he's been leading up to this, Zdarsky's been leading up to the conflict. He's found out that the Red Mask is basically using a multiversity like gas to like change people, and so what he's going to do is he's going to release this in the city and turn people into like villains and monsters and all sorts of stuff. So Bruce is needs to stop him. So that's really what this issue centers on. And really it's a great continuing story from his first story arc of this, which was Failsafe. And Zdarsky's really kind of going outside the box and really doing some wild stuff here, and I really like that he's kind of taking chances with Batman and really taking it in a kind of different direction. And I really, really like that. And Hawthorne's artwork is really, really nice. It's a really good looking book. The toy box backup story is really, really good. It's continuing where Robin is actively looking for Batman, and it just kind of continues that story. Mendesea's artwork's nice on that. Like I said, I'm really liking what Zdarsky's doing here. He's really taking some risk with the Batman title, and that's pretty, it's pretty bold. It is kind of a standard story, but with the multiverse and being in a different place, he's taking, some chances with, a Batman book that, really just hasn't, I think that whole Fear City thing just went on too long. So I'm really liking this fresh approach to this story. And once again, the artwork's nice on both the main and the backup story. Next up, we have Planet of the Apes, #1, written by David F. Walker with artwork by David Watcher. So this story, it takes place in the current Planet of the Apes, not the original 60s version. It takes place, so it really is coming out of the rise of the Planet of the Apes, the 2011 film. And so what it is there's the ALZ 113 virus that was basically created to help with Alzheimer's, but of course they tested on monkeys, and what it is, it mutated and now is affecting humans. So what this story is about, kind of that beginning. It's almost like at the end of, like, say the Rise film, and it kind of is in between the next film. So it's kind of an in-between story where there's still, there's fractions, there's humans who thinks that it's the monkey's fault that this plague has happened, and so they're trying to kill all the monkeys and orangutans and stuff like that. And so what it is there's Juliana is a soldier, and what they're doing is they're taking apes to, like, sanctuaries so they'll be safe. And that's what, she understands that, like, look, it's not the monkeys that have caused it, it's the experiments by humans that was causing the plague. And so really that's, this story's, it's a setup story, but like I said, it really kind of takes place after the events in really the Rise, the first of the new set of films. And so like I said, this first issue is kind of a setup. So I liked it. I wasn't necessarily overwhelmed, but I think it's off to a decent start. Walker, the script's really nice and everything. He does a good job of setting it up, kind of explaining, if you haven't seen that Rise of the Planet of the Apes, he gives you enough information from that film to get going with the story. So he's done a really good job of setting it up for because it's been a long time, obviously, since that film came out. So just a good refresher course. So he does a good job of incorporating that in, which I did really appreciate. And Watcher's artwork is really, really nice. It's a good looking book. I just wasn't sold on this first issue in that respect with the exposition, but I did like a lot of the things that he did introduce. So I think it's worth checking out in that respect, but just be cautious that, it's pretty exposition heavy. Next up, we have Disney Villains Scar, #1, written by Chuck Brown with artwork by Trevor Fairley. So what this story is, it's kind of like pre-Simba becoming the Lion King. And it's really about Scar. He really wants to, he wants to be the king. He wants to rule everybody because, he's the bad guy. But he just can't, it's like he has this, like, burning, fire, like, I just really want to be king. And so what it is he actually, tries to attack a water buffalo. They throw him off a cliff, and Rafiki, rescues him and kind of nurses him back to health. But it's really kind of a villain story. It's almost like, in a way, it's like almost an origin story of a villain. That's kind of the best way to describe it. I think Brown's script is decent. I think he does a good job of capturing. The one good thing that really he does well is he doesn't make you really sympathize with Scar. He is the bad guy. I think what he kind of does is he makes it relatable. Like, oh well, he's a bad guy, but this is what this is kind of a backstory to kind of learn a little bit more about his character, which, Brown's done a nice job there. And Fairley does a nice job on the artwork. It has a nice, Disney style to it. And, it's off to a good start. I think if you're a fan of The Lion King, obviously you're going to like it. It's definitely more the animated than the what they called the live action, the CGI version, as I refer to. It's definitely more of the from the original animated, the hand drawn animated version. But if you're a fan of that, and like I said, the story's good, the art's nice. It'll be interesting. I want to kind of see where Brown really takes the story, in like the next few issues, and kind of go from there. Next up, we have Adventures of Superman, John Kent, #2. Written by Tom Taylor with artwork by Clayton Henry. So what this is, Ultraman has been going to different Earths and killing Superman, Clark Kent, or Kal-El. And so Val Zod, the Superman from Earth 2, has come to Earth 1 with Red Tornado, a female Red Tornado, which is actually the Lois Lane from another multiverse, from another Earth. And so they're going to track Ultraman, and they can only track him after he's killed a Kal-El. So they go to the planet where he is, and I really don't want to say anymore because it's quite shocking what Tom Taylor has done with this second issue. I like the first issue. I wasn't necessarily, like overwhelmed. I mean, I really like Tom Taylor's writer. I'm loving Nightwing, and he's a really good writer. But, the first issue was kind of okay. It was like, okay, this is nice. But the second issue is like, okay, this is where we're going. This is really kind of messed up. This is not going to be just like, oh, here's like, John Kent being Superman. Whee! He really throws a monkey wrench into it, and it's like, oh my God, it's crazy what happens. And it's really, really wild. It's really just insane. Next up, we have Joe Fixit, #4, written by Peter David with artwork by Yearly Sinar. So once again, this is the Hulk is Mr. Fixit in Vegas, and Kingpin has come to town to kind of take control of the city. He's kicked the mob, the head mob guy out, and he's also given Hulk this drug, Mr. Fixit, this drug that makes him go crazy and does what Kingpin wants. And so Spider-Man's in town, and they're having a big battle. So while that's happening, Kingpin, is taking control. He gets Electro and Rhino to be his muscle in town to make all the other lower mob, like, hey, I'm running the town. These are my guys. You better like sign the contracts, and so really that's the setup. It's because this is the next last issue, so it's kind of setting up the big finale of the story. I'm liking it. I'm a huge fan of Peter David's run on the Hulk. And Mr. Fixit was a great concept. And I really like that this is not really a particularly deep story, but that's fine. It's just fun. And David's really just, capturing all that, fun with this, story. And Sinar's artwork's really, really nice. It's a really good looking book. I'm just like, if you're looking for like a Hulk story that's really kind of self-contained, this has been a really good story. So I'm really excited to kind of see where, he takes it with, the finale in the next issue. So we'll kind of see. Next up, we have Batman and the Joker, Deadly Duo, #6, written and drawn by Mark Silvestri. So this is the next last issue, and so really, as we learn from the last issue, that Amanda Sims is alive, but the the formula that her dad was making, Donald, has basically, she's kind of a zombie, or this mutation, but she's really, we found out last issue that she's the one that has really been running this show. She's been the one that got the Joker and then made these mutant Jokers that infect other people. And so really what she's trying to do is make Gotham, turn everybody into Gotham into like these, not zombies or whatever, but just like have like free will, or have no free will, and just not have to worry about anything. Just, kind of be like, you don't have to lie and all that kind of stuff. But, once again, it's kind of a twisted version of reality that's not particularly kosher. So Batman and the Joker go down to rescue Harley and Commissioner Gordon, and it kind of goes well, but then, it just kind of goes south. I really don't want to say more because there's some nice twists and turns that Silvestri does in this issue. And like I said, this is the next last issue, but I have to say I've really been surprised by this book. Of course, Silvestri is really known. Obviously, he's a really good artist, and the artwork on this book is really, really just gorgeous. But I'm really surprised that the story is really, really good. It's a really solid story that I'm really liking. So I'm in it for the long haul. We'll see how it ends up next issue, but it's been a really good ride so far. At this point, I'd say there'll be a trade of it when it's finished after the next issue. So if you've missed it from the beginning, it's well worth checking out. Next up, we have The Nasty #1, written by John Lees with artwork by George Cambides and Adam Cahoon. So what this is there's a it starts off Thumper Cornell at age 7. He he's getting kind of bullied in school and stuff like that, and so well, that comes later. What it is he ends up watching this horror film because he's 7 years old in 82, so he's watching a VHS copy of this horror movie, and he really just becomes enamored with horror films. And he's kind of like, he's an only kid, so he doesn't really have any friends or anything. So he basically creates this, this Jason type character who it's his imaginary friend who's like, he's just, like Jason and this little 7-year-old. I mean, nobody else can see him. It's just, he just hangs around with his friends. So as he gets older, jump ahead to 94, he's graduated from high school, and so what it is the local video store, his friends hang out there, and they have this murder club where they watch movies and stuff. And so what it is there's this infamous movie that has been lost to the time and nobody knows about it, but if you watch it, you'll like go crazy and stuff. And so really that's kind of the setup. And I don't want to really say anymore, but let's just put it this way: his imaginary friend becomes a little less imaginary. It's an interesting concept. The story's actually pretty neat. I did like the story. I liked how they used the time periods and stuff like that. The video stores and stuff like that. I think where I struggled a little bit was with the artwork. It's not bad, but it's a little on the skimpy side. It's kind of basic artwork. I mean, it gets the job done, and there is some nice stuff. I think it's just a little uneven, which is a little bit rough at times. But it does, it gets the job done. It just it's kind of inconsistent, which is I struggle with a little bit. But it wasn't terrible artwork, and it wasn't anything that deterred it. I think it's one of those. It's a little rough on the edges, but the story ends up being pretty decent. So it'll be interesting. I'll kind of see what the second issue does, and kind of see where Lees takes the story from there. And finally, this week we have The Avengers: War Across Time #4, written by Paul Levitz, with artwork by Alan Davis. Now, once again, as I said before with the reviews for the first 3 issues, this is a throwback to really classic, 60s Kirby, Lee, Avengers. And it's just a fun story. There's, I'll be honest, there's not a lot of meat on the bone. This is a pretty basic story. We have the continuing story of Minar, who has stolen, Thor's hammer because he created it. And, he's leading the lava men to, like, take over the city. And so, and in the background, we also have Kang with the whole time travel thing. How he's trying to get to the Avengers. That's kind of all going on, and it's kind of continuing. But look, I love it because it's a nice throwback book. I'll be honest, it may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I like the fact that it's just a nice self-contained Avengers story. It has the classic characters, it has a great cast. It's just a fun little book. I mean, it's one of those, like I said, there's, it's not, like, oh my God, this is going to be the greatest comic. It's just fun. It's good, fun, clean superhero, classic, Marvel, from the 60s, that period. Really simple story, just a lot of fun. As I've said a million times before, I'm a huge fan of Alan Davis's artwork. The guy could draw the phone book and I'd buy it. But he's really a perfect artist for this because it's very much his style, but he understands that whole period of, Kirby, Ditko, Colan, all those great artists from that period. And he does it in his style, but he understands how that period visually looks. It still is very much Alan Davis, but he also understands what that period looked like. And that's, for me, that's just the cherry on top of the fun story. I'm digging it. Like I said, it's not necessarily going to be for everybody, but if you're looking for, something that's just nice and self-contained, this is really a fun book. That's going to do it this week. As always, public service announcement. I get all my comics at Pulp Fiction Comics in Long Beach, California. Ryan Skinner, the owner, has a great store. There's Eduardo, there's Annie, there's Wendy, there's Derek. It's a really nice store. They have a great pull service. You sign up and you make sure you don't miss any issues. You subscribe. It's really great. You don't miss anything. He offers great deals on trades and graphic novels. 30% off every day. Right now, he's got a bunch of stuff that's even 50% off. There's been some sales at the distributor level, so he passes that savings on to his customers. That's what's really nice, is he buys them cheap, he sells them cheap. They have a nice manga selection. They sell their manga at 20% off. And if it's something, if they don't have it in stock, it's something that's orderable from a distributor, they'll get it for you. But it's a really nice shop. It's a great store. Great customer service. That's really, for me, the big thing. And, as always, really support your local comic shop. They're the backbone of the industry. They get all the books. I get my books. I don't have to worry. I just go in and go, oh, look, Annie pulled all my books. It's great. Like I said, I've always said this before, make sure you pick up, if you order stuff, please pick up your comics and toys or whatever you order, because they pay for them before you get them. So, you really got to make sure that you pick up your stuff on a timely basis from them, because, it's tough times, but you want to make sure that you support your local comic shop, as best you can. And as always, we end our show with be kind. Be kind to each other. Kindness doesn't cost anything. I know things are tough. I get it. I've been there, done that. But, if being kind, it's really simple. Opening doors, saying hi. Hey, how you doing today? It's just, it's good for you. And it really, it's great for everyone. So be kind to each other. Be kind to yourself. That's going to do it this week. As always, please like, subscribe, and share our YouTube video, our channel. And like I said, the main review for Junkrabbit, I'm going to put a link in the comment section. So if you really want to know more about Junkrabbit this week, definitely watch that video for that, because I did a video just for the first 2 issues on that. So that's going to do it this week. Thanks for watching. This is Steven from Pop Culture Maven signing off. Take care of yourselves. Be kind. We'll do it again next week. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.